Hi, good afternoon, everybody. How are you? So, I guess we'll get started with the last session before the break. So, my name is Boris Peres. I'm VP of Solutioning at Skan. And I will be basically talking about process intelligence and what we are discovering in underwriting operations in a number of commercial and other underwriters, and how we could use what we are discovering for agentic AI. Now, one thing is, what Skan does is we basically a process intelligence company. And by process intelligence, I mean we basically discover the processes, any processes, and underwriting is a big area for us. The interesting thing about underwriting is that what we see in a lot of cases, it's implemented like it's shown here on the left. It's designed one way, implemented the other way, and when it runs, people are actually using, underwriters are using a lot of non-core applications, a lot of Excel, a lot of Word, a lot of emails, Teams, and so on. So what Skan allows you to do is to remove this opacity of underwriting process. Now, the way we do it is we put small pieces of software called virtual assistant on underwriter's workstation. So if you have a team of 30 underwriters, or if you have a team of 500 underwriters, we could put our agents on everybody's workstations. So people really don't feel that there is something sits on their computer, but we strongly recommend that you would tell people that something is monitoring them. And then we observe everything what people are doing on their workstations. By everything, I mean whitelisted applications, meaning you tell us what you want us to observe, and we observe it. Whitelisted applications, we observed every click, every screen. Non-whited applications will just know that you went on YouTube or you went to Amazon, but we have no idea what you did there. We just know that you went there. And then we stitch the process together, and that's where our AI comes in. Meaning your underwriter could start with one policy in the morning, could go to renewal, could go to another policy, could go do administrative work. So it could be a lot of things happening on underwriter's workstation during the day. Now, the policy to be issued, if it's a complex policy, it could be several people or even several teams involved. So what we do, we stitch this process together. And I'll show you a quick demo. We'll stitch it automatically, meaning you will know that the underwriter started working on policy 1, 2, 3. Then this policy went to junior associate, then came back to underwriter, and so on. We will trace that policy across multiple workstations, multiple screens, and we'll tell you exactly what happened to it. And at the end, we created lots of dashboards. We call it operational twin. Basically, we will actually show you what is happening in your business, who is working on what. And it's kind of much easier to show you a demo to explain what's happening. Let me skip it so I'll have more time to show you a demo. Now, just before I jump in the demo, how people are using us. And you could use us in multiple ways. A lot of people are using us for process excellence and efficiency. Basically discover how your process runs, what are the bottlenecks, what you could improve, what you could automate. This is the second one. Now, automation is not only what you could automate, but where you could, what is your automation adoption? Like in a lot of times, people implemented all kind of copilots, Microsoft copilots, other copilots. People are interested in adoption of these new automations. We could measure it. Now, two other things that I want to mention is workforce productivity. So people utilization is a very big deal since COVID, when people are working remotely or hybrid. Now, what it is, a lot of times for underwriters or for any operators, people are using BPM tools to measure utilization, meaning something like Pega, IBM BAW, K1, any BPM tools. So, but BPM tool measures only what you tell it, right? Or only what is inside BPM tool. For example, if I'm in Pega and I say, hey, I'm going to calculate reserve, I'm going to go and do it. I click on Pega or any BPM tool, and I went into Excel spreadsheet. I spent 2 minutes in Excel spreadsheet calculating reserves, and I spent 2 hours in YouTube watching movies. Then I'm returning back to Pega and saying, I'm done. So what BPM tool will calculate for you is you spend 2 hours, 2 minutes in calculating reserves. What Skan does, Skan will actually tell you, no, you spend 2 minutes in Excel and you spend 2 hours in YouTube. So it will be very, very transparent what your people are doing. And the last thing is controls and monitoring. So once you define your process, you could define which errors you don't want your people to do, which compliance steps you don't want them to skip. And we will alert you. Not only that we will alert you when people are skipping these steps, we will actually show you a movie. And I'll show you an example in a second of the movies that we are showing that will tell you, okay, at this point in time, this is the errors that you've done. This is the screens that you've done this error. So actually operators or underwriters could go back and correct the errors. Now, it's much easier for me to show you a movie and just to show you a quick demo, so you'll see actually what we are observing and how we are stitching the processes together. So I'll show you 2 demos. The first demo will actually show you click streams, will actually show you guidewire, will show you the actual process. This is mock-up. You will see some social security numbers, you will see some names. This is all mocked up. Now the second demo will be the actual digital twin of operation or dashboards from the actual very large US-based commercial insurer, and that will be the second part of the demo. So let's go to the first one. So imagine that Aryan Pandey is running some process, and in this case it will be claims, and we installed our virtual assistants on everybody's workstations. So he comes in the morning, and this is what we observe, right? You see that he started his day, he went into Outlook, he went to Guidewire, and started processing the claim. You see that Skan actually follows every click, every screen. And on the right over there, you see this running thing. It actually AI attempts to name every screen, everything what the person is doing. Now it goes through several screens. We could keep it up. Like there are mainframe screens. If it would be Excel, it would be Excel screens and everything else. So we basically observed everything what operator is doing. Now in this short period of time, Aryan actually started on one claim, then didn't finish it, didn't have enough data, switched to another claim, started doing something else. So what we do, we stitch the process together, and we do it automatically. You see this screen, and we only need to say, show us all the attributes, meaning to process claims, you could have claim number, policy number, name, address, could be 100 different attributes to process claim. Everything what you see on the screen is done automatically. Skan selects for you attributes, and the only thing that you need to do, you need to say, I'm going to use claim number or policy number, whatever you want, to stitch the case together. And after you do that, you could also anonymize a bunch of stuff. Skan will automatically stitch the case together for you. So what it means is, I could return now and look at case number 63535, right? So now, Aryan was working on this case, and you could see familiar screens for this particular case, 6535, that was done for this claim. Could be policy issue, policy renewal, whatever it is. Now, he didn't have enough information, so other people were loading additional data. So you see everything what was done to this claim from the very beginning to the very end. So we basically stitch the process together. Now, you could look at any claims. For some of our clients, we are on their workstation for 3 years. You could see how the policy was issued 3 years ago and how similar policy was issued yesterday. So you could actually check any policy you want. If you want, you could go at the click stream level and check it at this level. Now, it's also great for new agentic stuff, right? Because now we have all the data at the click level, what your operators were doing or what your underwriters were doing with every variation, every possible thing. So we could use it to train what we call large action models to actually do it for you. Now, before we go there, let me show you kind of another demo. And this is now a sanitized example from a real underwriting operations. Now, one thing that I want to do is to show you how actually the process was designed, which is quite fascinating for me. You see on the left, right, they had a very large process improvement team that designed the process very cleverly. They had 3 teams running. BPO, they had outsourcing partner, they have underwriting associates, basically junior underwriters, and the most experienced and expensive people, underwriters. right? And you see in different colors. BPO team was doing intake and clear submission. Underwriters were doing difficult task, price, produce, quote, assess initial risk, and the underwriting associates were doing other stuff. So just take a mental picture of how the process was designed, right? Now, what we did, we installed our Skan on everybody's workstation, like the whole underwriting operation, meaning BPO team, underwriting associates, underwriters. So here is what happened. So the first thing that Skan provides, and this is kind of a real data, it's spaghetti, right? Because we observed every click, everything what is happening. So you cannot make out of it. The beauty of it, that with AI, it automatically aggregates for you into sub-processes. You don't need to do any touch of it. Basically, AI reads for you every screens and aggregates. So you could actually see how it looks, right? You see prep, submission, rate. Now, if you disagree with this aggregation, we could disaggregate for you manually as much as you want. But at least initially, we will discover your process, we'll aggregate it for you into sub-processes so your process improvement people could look at it. Now, we could also collect a bunch of attributes, right? We could look at specific case type, we could look at specific team, and so on, right? Now, one thing that we kind of noticed in this process was quite different, right? And look at this chart, look at the bottom. Basically, BPO is purple, underwriting associates is red, and blue is senior underwriters. And like anybody notice something weird about this chart? Remember how the process was designed. Every team supposed to do a particular sub-process. When we looked at this step, wait a second, it looks like everybody is doing everything, right? It's just completely different. Now, when we showed it to process improvement people, they said, oh my God, Skan is a garbage, it doesn't stitch the process together, something is wrong, right? Remember click streams that I showed to you. We watched a number of click streams. We watched click streams for underwriters, we watched click streams for BPO team, and we indeed confirmed that they're doing everything, right? So we went actually to VP level people, and when we went to VP of underwriting, he said, oh, of course I know what's going on here. They're incentivized to do it. They don't trust each other, right? But the other thing that we started looking, we said, okay, but let's look how they're processing. And at Skan, we could actually compare different teams, right? So I could actually look at a particular sub-process. And for example, we could look at, it will select in a second, issue sub-process. So we are going to look only at issue sub-process, right? And we are going to see, okay, BPO team that's supposed to do it, this purple bar you see over there, it's actually doing it very fast, within minutes. Underwriting associates, basically junior people, are taking 10 times longer. They're taking more than 40 minutes to do it. You see this red bar? So the beauty of Skan is that we could actually discover what they're doing wrong. Now, you could say, wait a second, maybe they're using different type of underwriting, maybe they're issuing different policy, maybe it's more complex. But we could actually watch the clickstream and see it. But before we go to clickstream, we could actually compare on the left and on the right. So on the left here, you see a process map that was BPO team is doing. On the right, this is underwriting associates. This is a one sub-process. This is only issue. So we are looking only at tasks done for issue sub-process. Now, without diving into this process maps, and the process improvement people actually dived into these process maps quite a lot to understand what they're doing differently, we could actually look at which applications they're using, right? Because we record everything what people are doing, so we could actually look at the application. And now, I don't know if you will be able to see, but I hope you will be able to see it. Like if I look at which applications underwriting associates doing, right? The people who are not supposed to do issue. You could see that they're using a lot of Microsoft Outlook and a lot of Teams. Like 15 minutes they're spending in Microsoft Outlook and about 10 minutes in Teams, right? So the immediate red flag was why is I using it? And then we looked at BPO team, right? So if you look at BPO team, you don't see any Microsoft notes, right? Teams are very, very little, right? So the immediate hypothesis, wait a second, probably this underwriting associate, junior people, they don't know what they're doing. They're taking a lot of notes. Then they're going into Teams, and they're trying to figure out what to do, how to issue this policy, right? So that was a hypothesis, but I cannot show you the click streams. We actually went into the clickstream and we confirmed this hypothesis. So that's what indeed what was happening with this operation, right? So I am running a little bit out of time. There are a number of other things that we did. For example, we said, let us look at how people are given tasks from one team to another, right? We could actually see between switches between different teams. And their goal there was to make less than 24 hours. If it goes from underwriting associates to BPO, or from BPO to underwriters, less than 24 hours. We actually did not see any of it going less than 24 hours. Everything was quite long switches, right? So, but the bottom line is that we discovered the process. The way it was designed, it was completely different from the way it was implemented. So any kind of agentic AI or anything that would kind of, if it would be parachuted into this operation, would be quite detrimental for it because people did not really understand how the process really ran. Now let me, for the sake of time, let me kind of skip a couple of slides and show you what actually happened in reality. So this is kind of what happened in reality. They were able to understand their process. They were able to understand that their underwriting team, meaning really senior underwriters who are supposed to spend their time on the most complex tasks, were actually spending almost 2/3 of their time on activities like policy issue and other things that they should not be spending on. We figured out that the switches between the processes was quite long, like significantly long than it's intended. And we found a number of automation opportunities. So for this kind of short presentation, I cannot show it to you, but when we went through step by step what these teams were doing, we found efficient way of doing the processes and inefficient ways of doing the process and discovered it. Now the business outcomes are there at the bottom. It was quite amazing what they did. The turnaround time for policy issue was reduced by 20%, quite a lot, right? And a lot of it was done by basically discovering the process, discovering the differences between it was designed and the way it was implemented, and making the differences. So that's pretty much everything that I wanted to cover, just to give you an idea what with AI, what you could do, how detailed you could go into your operations. Now, the next step for us is to use the data that we collect, very detailed data about operations, to train large, what we call not large language model, but large action models. Because now we could train large action models with this data so that the agents will be able to actually perform a number of processes in underwriting. So I have a couple of more minutes. Any questions? Any questions about what you have seen?
So is the goal in the end to have AI, agentic AI, take all those processes that are manually done by humans right now and do them automatically, and so you have a roadmap of how to underwrite?
Yeah, so we have current product that we have implemented at probably 2 dozens of insurance carriers, and this product goal is a little bit less aggressive that you said. The goal of this product: discover the processes, figure out what could be automated, figure out how the process could be standardized, what could be improved. Now, our next product that will be coming out next year would be exactly what you said. Right now, we have all this data, especially with our long-term clients, where we are collecting this data already for multiple quarters, in some cases multiple years. So we have a vast amount of data that we sit. We could train our large language models. So we start with sub-processes. We kind of don't take the whole underwriting process. We want to agents or agentic AI to take care of certain sub-processes, and then eventual goal to take a big chunks of the process and automate it. Any other questions? Great, thank you.